Hades Horror Files.
I didn't even believe in Ouija boards when this happened. That's the part I always come back to. People assume the dumbest thing I did was use one in the first place, but honestly, it felt harmless at the time. Just a cheap board from the back shelf of a thrift store outside Bloomington. $20, stained cardboard box, missing instructions. The kind of thing you buy ironically. There were 4 of us that night. Me, my girlfriend Tessa, my cousin Drew, and his friend Mallory. It was late October, cold rain tapping against the cabin windows. Drew had rented the place for the weekend because he wanted a break from civilization, which mostly meant drinking whiskey and flannel and pretending we knew how to start a fire. The cabin sat deep in the woods, miles from the nearest gas station. No cell service, no neighbors. Just trees and wet dirt and silence so thick it pressed against the windows. By midnight, we were bored. That's when Mallory found the Ouija board. It had been shoved beneath a stack of old board games in the hall closet. Monopoly, Scrabble, Sorry, and underneath them, that thing. The box looked ancient. The corners were soft and peeling like it had been handled 1,000 times. I remember joking that it looked cursed before I even opened it. Inside was the board and the planchette. That little pointer thing felt weirdly heavy in my hand. "Absolutely not," Tessa said immediately, but she was laughing when she said it. Drew lit candles because he thought it would set the mood. The power kept flickering anyway, so eventually we turned the cabin lights off and sat around the coffee table with nothing but candlelight and rain. I still remember how cozy it felt at first. Warm, safe. That feeling didn't last long. We all put 2 fingers on the planchette. Mallory asked the first question. "Is anyone here with us?" Nothing happened. Drew snorted. "Spirit world must be asleep." Then the planchette moved. Tiny movement. Barely noticeable. I immediately assumed one of them was pushing it. It slid slowly to yes. Tessa laughed nervously. "Okay, who's doing that?" Nobody answered. The rain outside got heavier. Drew leaned forward. "What's your name?" The planchette moved again. Slow, dragging. M-A-R-A. "Mara," I read aloud. I looked around expecting somebody to crack a smile. Nobody did. "Cool," Drew said. "Mara, are you a ghost?" "Yes." "Did you die here?" "Yes." Tessa pulled her fingers away immediately. "Nope, I'm done." But Mallory looked fascinated. That's the thing about curiosity. It overrides common sense in the worst moments. She kept asking questions. "How old are you? Do you want something? Are you alone?" The answers got stranger. 19. Cold. No. That last one made the room uncomfortable. "Who's with you?" Mallory asked. The planchette stopped moving. Then suddenly it jerked so violently under our fingers that Tessa yelped. It began sliding fast across the board. Not safe. A cold feeling crawled up my arms. Drew forced a laugh. "Okay, seriously, who's moving it?" "I'm not," I said. "Me neither," Mallory whispered. The candles flickered hard. Then every single one went out at once. Darkness swallowed the room. Not gradual darkness, instant. I heard Tessa curse beside me. Then came a sound from somewhere deeper in the cabin. A slow creak, like someone stepping on old floorboards. Drew turned on his phone flashlight immediately. The beam shook slightly in his hand. "Probably the house settling," he muttered. But his voice sounded thinner now. Uneasy. The atmosphere had changed completely. That playful feeling was gone. Now it felt like we were being watched. Tessa wanted to stop. Honestly, I did too. But Drew kept insisting someone had been messing with us. So he relit the candles. We put our fingers back on the planchette. The wood beneath us creaked again. Closer this time. Mallory swallowed hard. "Mara, are you still here?" Yes. What's here with us? The planchette moved immediately. He is. Who is he? I asked before I could stop myself. The planchette began circling. Faster, faster, faster. Then it stopped abruptly on no. At that exact moment, something slammed against the cabin wall outside. All four of us jumped. It sounded huge, not like a branch. Like a person hitting the wall with both hands. Thud. Silence. Thud. Thud. Tessa stood up instantly. I'm done. We're done. Then came scratching. Slow scratching. From outside the living room window. I turned my flashlight toward it. Nothing there. Just black forest and rainwater sliding down the glass. But the scratching continued, long nails against wood. Drew walked toward the window despite all of us telling him not to. He pulled the curtain back. Nothing, no person, no animal. But written in the fogged glass were 3 words, let me in. I swear to God those words appeared while we were staring at the window. Tessa started crying immediately. Drew backed away from the glass like he'd touched fire. Then the bedroom door down the hallway slammed shut. The sound exploded through the cabin. Bang! Nobody moved. Every hair on my body stood up. Another slam. Bang, then another. Bang, bang, bang. Like someone inside the room was throwing themselves against the door. Tessa grabbed my arm so hard her nails dug into my skin. We need to leave, she whispered. And she was right. We should have left immediately. But before we could move, the planchette started moving on its own. Nobody was touching it anymore. It scraped slowly across the board. I can still hear that sound sometimes when I'm trying to sleep. It spelled one sentence. Don't let him see you. Then every candle went out again, and this time they didn't flicker first. They just died. Darkness flooded the cabin, and from the hallway came footsteps. Slow, heavy, wet, not normal footsteps. They sounded wrong somehow, like joints bending incorrectly. I shined my flashlight toward the hallway. At first I saw nothing. Then something moved near the ceiling. Not on the floor. Near the ceiling. I remember my brain refusing to process it. A shape. Tall. Bent backward. Clinging to the hallway ceiling like a spider. The flashlight beam caught pale skin. Long black hair hanging downward. And eyes. God. Those eyes, huge and white and unblinking. Tessa screamed. The thing moved instantly, not crawling. Launching. The flashlight flew from my hand when I stumbled backward. Everyone started shouting at once. Drew grabbed the fireplace poker. Mallory was crying hysterically. And somewhere in the dark, something was moving around us impossibly fast. You could hear it in the walls, above us, beside us, scratching, breathing. Then silence, complete silence, the kind that hurts your ears. We huddled together near the kitchen while Drew searched blindly for his flashlight. That's when we heard Mallory speak. Except, it didn't sound like her. It came from behind us, soft, wet. He knows you opened the door. We spun around. Mallory stood in the darkness near the hallway entrance, her head tilted at an unnatural angle. I remember the candlelight catching her smile. Too wide. Way too wide. Mal? Drew whispered. She laughed. Not normal laughter. It sounded layered, like multiple voices speaking together. Then she sprinted toward us, not like a person runs. Her arms jerked violently, feet slamming against the floor too fast. Drew hit her with the fireplace poker before she reached us. The crack echoed through the cabin. She collapsed instantly. For one horrible second, nobody moved. Then she started laughing again from the floor. I'll never forget that sound. Drew dragged her backward while Tessa and I grabbed our coats and keys. We were getting out. I didn't care what was happening anymore. We ran for the front door. It wouldn't open. The handle twisted. The lock clicked. But something on the other side pushed back. Hard. Like someone was leaning against it. Then came breathing, slow breathing, right outside the door. Tessa backed away, crying. Drew shouted for us to help with Mallory because she'd started convulsing violently on the floor. Her eyes rolled white, blood leaked from her nose, and she kept whispering the same thing over and over. "He's here. He's here. He's here." The cabin light suddenly flashed on, every bulb glowing bright for 1 second, and standing at the end of the hallway was a man. At least, I think it had once been a man. Tall, impossible thin. Skin stretched tightly over bone. Its mouth hung open too far, splitting the cheeks, and its eyes, no pupils, just white. It stood perfectly still, watching us. Then the lights died again. Drew screamed. Something grabbed him in the darkness. I heard his body slam into the wall. Tessa pulled me toward the kitchen while Drew shouted for help. I still hear that part in my nightmares, because we left him. I hate myself for that. But fear does things to people. Animal things. We barricaded ourselves in the bathroom while Drew's screams echoed through the cabin, then suddenly stopped. Silence again. The only sound left was dripping water from the sink. And breathing, not ours. Outside the bathroom door. Slow scraping followed, like fingernails dragging down wood. Then came Drew's voice. "Guys, open the door!" Tessa looked at me immediately. Her face had gone completely white, because it wasn't Drew's voice. It sounded almost right, but wrong in tiny ways, like someone imitating human speech. "Please," it said softly. "It hurts." Something tapped lightly against the door. 3 knocks. Then silence. Then, "Let me in." The exact same tone from the window. Tessa started sobbing into my shoulder. I don't know how long we stayed in there. Maybe hours. Neither of us slept. Neither of us moved. Eventually morning came, and with daylight, silence. Real silence this time. No breathing, no footsteps, nothing. We finally opened the bathroom door. The cabin looked untouched. No blood, no broken furniture, no Drew, no Mallory. Just the Ouija board sitting alone on the coffee table, the planchette resting on goodbye. The police searched the woods for 3 days. They never found them, not a trace. No footprints, no bodies, nothing. Tessa never recovered after that night. She refuses to talk about it now. And me? I still wake up sometimes around 3 a.m. hearing scratching outside my bedroom window. Slow, patient, waiting. The worst part is, about 6 months after the cabin incident, I was unpacking boxes after moving apartments. At the very bottom of one box, wrapped in an old sweater, was the Ouija board. I know I didn't pack it. I know I left it in that cabin, but there it was, waiting for me. And scratched into the wood of the planchette were 3 words I had never seen before. You didn't say goodbye.